What's up, YouTube? Been a while since I made a video, so I just wanted to go ahead and do an update on my 150 gallon. I'll do an update on my 12 gallon nano saltwater as well. Right now I just want to put some focus into this tank. I think I've shot a couple videos for this, just never uploaded them, so I'll make sure I get this one uploaded. But as you can see, I have made this freshwater rather than going ahead and doing saltwater like I planned. Just wasn't in the budget right now. So let me first talk about what fish I have in here. I have 3 bass, largemouth, 1, 2, and then the third one down there. Then I have a crappie. He kind of hangs out back there. You can see his tail. Got 2 bluegills. They're pretty much the most active usually. They like to chase each other around the tank and stuff like that. I've also got a catfish in here. And as you can see, he's laying underneath these sticks. And that's usually what he does during the daytime. And for you fishermen out there, you kind of know this, but otherwise you might not. But catfish are nocturnal. They like to do their time at night. They like to eat at night, like to move around at night. My friends always come over and they'll see the catfish like that and they'll be like, dude, you got a dead fish. I'm like, nah, he's not dead. But anyways, the decorations, as you can see, they're kind of sporadic. I had them all neatly placed in there like how I liked it, but the fish moved them around how they wanted. Mostly the catfish, he likes to kind of stir up the sand, kind of look for food at the bottom and stuff like that. So he's pretty much the main one, the main culprit for that. Because these plants, the grass ones, like to float, and these plants, I mean, these are fake plants, obviously, but they're actually made for like decorative wreaths and stuff like that from a hobby store is where I got them, and so I actually bent the bottoms of them to almost to make like a hook to dig down in the sand and kind of anchor themselves into the sand. But the catfish moved them around, so I mean, I just said whatever and just left it. And it's usually different every day. The fish, when I feed them, they'll move them around by chasing the food and just, you know, general moving around. They like to move the plants around. The only ones that are the same are, well, they're not even really the same as the sticks. I had some of them standing up that are not standing up anymore. So let's see. Feeding them, I do leftover minnows from when I go fishing. Was one of the main ones. I buy the 13-cent goldfish from PetSmart or Petco, whatever. I usually feed these guys 50 total at a time, and it ends up being like $5, $6. It's not that much money. So, and it's crazy. I'll make a video of it, but they'll usually do work and have all those minnows or goldfish gone in like less than 60 seconds. So it's pretty cool. Otherwise, I feed them shrimp, frozen shrimp. You can get it from Walmart, or you see the catfish stirring up some sand, moving around a little bit. I usually feed them frozen shrimp most of the time. $5 for a bag of it at Walmart. And they all eat that. The bass eat it. The catfish loves it. The bass, I was kind of wondering if they would eat it, but they do. They will eat a whole shrimp. So the bluegills can eat it also, and the crappie also eats it, but the bluegill kind of pick at it because obviously they can't fit a piece of frozen shrimp in their mouths because they're too small. So what they'll do is kind of pick at it and break it apart, and then they eat that, and then so that's how they get it. And the bluegills will also eat the smaller goldfish that I feed. They usually don't eat the minnows. They're usually too big. They try, but they more or less kind of chase them around. But so that's that. Filtration, I've got the canister filter on this side. That one's rated for 100 gallons. And then I've got this dual, what do they call this thing? Power wheel or Emperor or something like that filter. With the 2 bio wheels in it. That's also rated for 100 gallons. These fish do produce a bit of waste, but it's really not as bad as you would think. Or maybe it's just I have good filtration. I don't know, because I do see their waste sometimes. But I mean, it's not bad. I got clear water. Their water's nice and clear. I do need to add water. As you can see, my basement down here is terribly dry. That's why I can't hardly breathe right now. So I get a lot of evaporation out of this tank. And so I have to add water constantly. And right now I've kind of been slacking because, as you can see, I got like about 1 inch to 1.5 inches space right here of water that needs to be filled, and that's going to be like 1 gallon, if not 2 gallons of water right there. So it's a lot of water. It's a heavy tank. Don't recommend ever putting this on a top floor in a multiple story house like I live in. I live in a 3-story house, and mine's in the basement for that reason, because this tank is heavy. This tank is heavy by itself. The only thing that's not heavy is the stand. It's very light, but the tank is extremely heavy, even empty. It weighs about 100 pounds empty. Filled, sheesh, I don't even want to know. Probably about 1,000 pounds. I don't even know. I think water weighs like 8 point something pounds per gallon, so it might not be quite 1,000, but it's close. If you haven't watched my other videos, I'll go ahead and clue you in. I paid $50 for this setup. I paid $50 for the tank stand, lights, and lids. I think I paid like another $50 for the filters. I actually bought the BioWheel filter. I bought myself for one of my other tanks that I had saltwater, but I ended up using it for this one. But when I planned on doing this tank saltwater, I bought all that. It's actually 2 buckets in a styrofoam box full of live rock, which is just sitting right here because it's not enough. It's way too much to fit in my little tanks. I bought the live rock and the canister filter, plus another canister filter that doesn't have all the parts. Fucking assholes. Excuse my language, but people like to get over on you sometimes, but beware of that. But I bought the live rock, 2 filters for $50 also, plus a heater, which I don't use a heater in here. As you can see, the catfish is kind of rooting around. That's what he does. He does move around in the daytime sometimes, as you can see, but for the most part, he kind of hangs out. Let's see. I guess my lights are just basic. I never even changed the bulbs from when I bought the tank. They work. The starters in the fixtures could stand to be replaced, but they work for now. So they take, they flicker a couple times before they cut on, but that's normal. Let's see. Yeah, the heater. I don't use a heater. I have the heater in there. You can probably see it right there in the middle. The only reason that's in there is because I filled this tank up originally with my water hose. If you ever been sprayed with a water hose or played in the water hose, you know it's cold. So it's extremely cold water. Plus, it was right at the end of wintertime when I got this tank back in January. So it was cold outside, which even added more to the chilliness of the water. So I had the heater in there. Actually have 2 heaters in there because I think the one heater in the back is rated for 90 gallons, and I think that one's rated for like 45 gallons. So I didn't even have the actual amount of heat in there, or heaters in there for the amount of water. So it took a few days for the water to get up to temperature, and then I just unplugged the heaters and let it sit at room temperature, which it ranges about 72, 73 degrees most of the time, which is good for these fish. I mean, if you've ever been fishing at a pond or even a river, the water's chilly. So it's fine for them. Just not that ice cold water that it was before. I thought about getting koi fish for this tank, but honestly, the ones that my main pet store, which is was just a, it wasn't a franchise like Petco or anything. It was just a pet store around here, ended up closing down, unfortunately. So my more less common fish are only available if I order them offline right now, because as you guys know, Petco and PetSmart, they don't got nothing. So as far as fish go, and I'm not gonna buy those semi-small koi fish to put in here because they're gonna get eaten immediately by the bass. So I'll probably just leave it like this. Probably won't add any more. I haven't had any deaths, knock on wood, other than the first crappie that I put in here, which was